show each one of us what you would have us learn and have us follow this day. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. Please be seated. God does not love you. How many of us have believed that at some point in our lives? Many people believe that lie. And that's a lie straight from the pit of hell. But people fall into that trap. And our Apostle Paul, in his letter today, gives us some wonderful news about that particular lie. And we'll get to that in a moment. First, Paul explains to us how that lie can possibly be believed. He says this: Satan blinds the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel. And what he's saying there is he blinds the minds so that people don't have an understanding of the gospel, or they just don't want to hear it. He tells them, God can't possibly love you because look at what's happening in your life. And so they believe it. He sells us that untruth. And he sells it well. And we swallow it whole. He also tells us that, and many people believe this too, that God just isn't real. You know, the growth of atheism today is astounding. It's amazing to read the statistics. It seems like every year the number of atheists just increases. People are believing that lie. But all of us, from time to time, because of things that are going on in our lives or what have you, believe things that are not true about God, about His Word, about the church. We all fall into that from time to time. Well, what Paul is talking about in this passage is this unbelief that covers a person's almost their entire life. They've believed it so fully that they can't possibly contemplate anything having to do with God. And so their entire life is lived apart from God. But all of us need to realize that from time to time, we believe things that are not true. So the second thing that I want to point out, first and foremost, as Paul's answer to this, is that Jesus is the light. I've been preaching about that almost every week, at some aspect of how Jesus is the light of the world and how He brings that light into our lives. And the thing is, because we believe things that aren't true, it's hard to allow that light into that particular place. We believe this thing that's not true, and so we resist Jesus' light shining into that area so that we can know the truth. We need to understand that light does not come from our families, although we can experience and have great joy through our families. Light does not come from our jobs, although we can experience and have great satisfaction in our work. Light does not come from the pleasures of this world, although we can certainly enjoy God's creation that He has given us. What a beautiful day He's given us today. It'd be nice if He sent a little rain our way, but you know, what a beautiful world we live in. We can enjoy it. All of these things I mentioned and many others are good things that God has given us, but they are not the light that God has given us. The light is Jesus Christ. But how does the light of Christ make a difference in our lives? His light shines into the darkness of our lives. Now, as I said just a minute ago, we can resist it. We can just continue to believe things that are not true. And we all do that from time to time. But His light is shining. And He wants to shine it into that dark place in our lives so that that darkness can be dispelled. Now, what kind of darkness am I talking about here? Well, first, there's the darkness of sin. Those things that we do wrong, and we all know what those are. Things that separate us from our loved ones or separate us from God. Things that we do that we know are wrong. We just read the 10 Commandments, and they give us a good idea of what some of those things are. Then there's the darkness in our lives of perhaps an emotional problem or a physical problem. And God wants to shine His light into those areas. I'm going to tell you a story in a minute about that. Then there's, and Satan loves this particular area to confuse us. We get confused about who we are. And we believe that we're not truly children of God. But the truth is, when Jesus' light shines in, we realize we're children of God. That's true no matter what we do, no matter what happens to us, or what happens around us. We're always children of God. That never changes. Now let me tell you a story about a person whose life was incredibly dark. I read this in one of my devotionals a while back. I'm going to call her name Mary. I can't remember her name. I couldn't find the particular story, but I remember it vividly. Mary grew up and was abused tremendously as she grew up. Physically, emotionally, sexually, she was abused. And she married, to get away from that abusive situation, she married as a teenager. Before she was 18, she got married. And had 5 children, one after another. And the man that she called her loved one convinced all 5 children that she was worthless, that she was no good, that she was a horrible person. And so they all, including her husband, abused her as well, emotionally. And she got to the point in her life where she had to be institutionalized. She was experiencing what the doctors call multiple personalities, anxiety, severe depression. She had attempted suicide several times. She just didn't want to live anymore. Her life was as dark as you could possibly imagine. And then one day, a family member said, "Look, we've tried all these other things. Come with me to this conference." And she went, and they had an opportunity during this conference where you could meet with a prayer counselor. And so she met with this prayer counselor for 4 hours. And in that time, she realized that regardless of all that horrible stuff, Jesus loved her. All that time, the light of Christ had been denied her, and it finally shined into her life. And Jesus came in and healed those horrible wounds, those emotional wounds in her life, and she was set free. She no longer needed all the different medications she was on. She no longer needed to be in the hospital. She was able to live the life that God had created for her to live. She was free. And that's what God wants for each and every one of us. And for every person who's outside these walls. Because He loves each and every one of us and wants the light of Christ to shine into our lives as well. Let us pray. Almighty God, I give you thanks and praise for your word, which is such an encouragement to me. And I pray, Father, that it would be an encouragement to each one of us here today. That it would bring the light of your Son into our lives and reveal the truth to each one of us. Help each one of us to turn to you in every aspect of our lives. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.